Hello and welcome. My name is Christina from Empowered Creator. I am a mindset and conscious manifesting teacher and coach, and this is my YouTube channel. Here I talk about all things law of assumption, mindset, conscious manifesting, the quantum universe, and a lot more. And my goal is to simplify everything without the fluff. So if you guys like this content and you would like to see more of it, I would love it if you would subscribe to this channel, comment on this video, like it, share it, and stick around. Also, if you need help with your specific situation, I offer one-on-one coaching, email coaching, as well as custom subliminals for whatever needs you may have. I also have some self-study courses about manifesting your specific person. So if you're interested in any of these services, the links are below in the description box. Click on them and they're going to take you to my website. With all that being said, let's dive into today's video. In today's video, I want to touch on a part of the concept of everyone is you pushed out that I feel is not talked about very often. And that part of everyone is you pushed out is how we perceive the people in our reality and what they say and what they do and what they don't say or what they don't do. So this is what I'll be discussing in today's video. Stay tuned. So if you've been in the manifesting community for at least some amount of time, you are probably familiar, or at least somewhat familiar, with the concept of everyone is you pushed out. This is a concept that was coined by Neville Goddard himself, where he said that the whole wide world is you yourself pushed out. And now this, over the years, and with the different teachers and different coaches, especially nowadays with social media and YouTube, has been interpreted in many different ways, has been given many different meanings, most of which are correct. But I feel that there is one very significant part actually, of the whole concept of everyone is you pushed out that tends to be very, very neglected. And it tends to be something that online coaches, at least, don't really talk about. So that part of everyone is you pushed out that I want to touch upon today is the part of how we perceive other people in our reality, how we perceive what they say or do or don't say or don't do, how they show up for us, and where these perceptions actually come from. So of course you will have heard that everyone is you pushed out means that other people act according to your assumptions of them, they act according to your perceptions of them, your expectations of them, and I have talked about similar things as well on this channel. They are all true, they're all correct, they're all valid, but one other point of that concept that we don't talk about, and it's very important, is not so much how people show up or what they do or what they don't do or what they say or don't say, but rather how we perceive that. Because at the end of the day, someone might be coming from the best intentions in the world, and if, for whatever reason, we have had some wound that we haven't healed, or some traumatic experience, and I don't even mean big trauma here. When I say traumatic experience, I mean things that have hurt us in the past, things that our subconscious has accepted as true for us, things that we may have internalized as part of our personal story. So if we're viewing them and how they're showing up from the perspective of our own wounds and our own prior experiences and our prior traumas, our prior hurts, let's say, even if they have the best intentions in the world, even if they have the most innocent intentions in the world, it's likely that we are going to see them as guilty of one thing or another. And to give an example here to illustrate this a little better, let's say that you are starting to date a new person and everything is going great and they're fantastic and they're very attentive to you and they're amazing, they're treating you great. But because you, in your past, have had some experiences that have traumatized you and they have hurt you in some way or another, you may be perceiving certain traits or certain ways by which they're showing up as something that is threatening towards you. Maybe they're showing up as very attentive to you, as always taking your needs into consideration, and you're instead perceiving them as suffocating or controlling. Or maybe they're a little more independent than you are used to, and you immediately perceive that as them ignoring you, them not being interested in you, them not caring about you, them avoiding you, and so on. So this is, you guys, is a very, very important part of everyone is you pushed out, for the mere reason that if these experiences that you have had in the past, that your subconscious has accepted and has internalized as true for you, if these experiences are defining now who you are, how you see the world, what you expect, what you assume, how you perceive everything around you, including other people, until these hurts and these wounds have been overcome, you will continue to perceive whatever happens in your reality, whatever anyone, no matter how amazing, how ideal they might be, does or says in your reality, as something that is threatening you in some way or another, as something that is hurting you, as something that is against you in one way or another, as something that is rejecting you, as something that is showing you that you're not worthy, as something that is proving that you do not deserve to have the love that you want, as something that is confirming in your mind, if for example you're afraid of commitment, that you should continue to stay away from commitment, and so on. So it is very, very important to start looking deeper within yourself to figure out not just what your assumptions are, but more importantly, where those assumptions come from. More often than not, they come from some unpleasant, hurtful experience of the past, or maybe a pattern of similar experiences in the past that you might even have carried with you in your adult life. And so you have formed certain assumptions, certain expectations, certain perceptions of other people in your reality as well as your own self. And so without realizing, without knowing that you're doing it, you're perceiving everyone and everything through the lens of those wounds, those hurts, those traumatic experiences that you haven't addressed. And I don't mean to scare you here. I don't mean that you need to do years of therapy or anything like that. As a matter of fact, I have many videos where I talk about how you overcome your old self, how you overcome your old versions of yourself, how you overcome your old assumptions, how you overcome your wounds and the things that traumatized you in the past so that you recreate yourself into the version that you want to be. But it's important to pay attention and to give some weight to those assumptions and those perceptions of reality, including of other people, especially of other people actually, because it's other people that tend to trigger us the most, and figure out how you may be projecting your own wounds onto them in how you interpret their behavior, their ways of showing up, the things they say, the things they do or don't say or don't do, and so on. This, you guys, is a very, very important part of the whole concept of everyone is you pushed out, and it's a very, very neglected part of the whole concept. We focus a lot on changing other people. Yes, we change ourselves in order to change other people, but in order to change those perceptions, in order to change those assumptions about other people, we first have to identify what these perceptions and what these assumptions are. Because without that level of introspection, without that level of looking within ourselves, we are probably going to be stuck in a cycle of looking at the other person, interpreting what they do or don't do in ways that hurt us, whether these are true or not, whether these were intended by the other person or not. And we're always going to be stuck in a perpetual cycle of pointing the finger at the other person and not recognizing that it's actually a part of ourselves that is perceiving them in this way. And of course, I'm not talking here about objective behaviors like abusive behaviors. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm talking about more subjective experiences. Experiences like when you feel that your specific person, for example, is not treating you well, or instances when you feel like they're cold towards you, or instances where you perceive them as very controlling, for example, or as unsupportive, or as disrespectful, and the list goes on. So it's very, very important, you guys, to start developing that level of introspection and that you start paying attention to that part of everyone is you pushed out, because this is where everything begins at the end of the day. In your relationships, in your interactions with other people, in how you perceive your reality. If you don't tackle your own perceptions and your own assumptions, you are going to be stuck in a cycle where things are not working out for you and you don't even know why. With all that being said, I'm going to wrap up this video here. I intend that this has helped. As always, I very much appreciate you guys being on this channel, watching this content. I love making this content for you. And as always, I look forward to seeing you all at the next video. Until then, take care and bye-bye.